A man on the radio yesterday said concerning Phillies manager Rob Thomson, we can like the guy, but not like every decision he makes. And I think that's a big common misconception with my supposed Rob Thompson dislike. Think I don't like him. We're going to talk a little bit more about Rob Thompson, about John Middleton's comments, and this huge series for the Phillies upcoming against the Braves starting tonight down in Atlanta. We're going to talk Eagles, 53-man roster. We are 1 week before cutdown day, locked in cutdown day. We're going to talk about that as well. Anything else that comes up in the conversation, trending in the AM Live with all your thoughts and opinions in 60 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We are live. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, you know the drill. Whichever platform you are watching on, do me that favor. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, follow button. Basically, do whatever you can on each platform to make sure this show reaches and gets to as many people as possible. Because we got lots to talk about, and we do this every day to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to have their opinion heard. That's what we got on this show here. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. You can find me at Beard and Knowledge on all social media platforms. Guys, we got lots to talk about. We're going to continue talking about the Phillies. We're going to continue talking about Rob Thomson and this discourse that's out there that if you criticize the guy, you're a hater. That's the Phillies conversation today, along with the fact that a huge series against the Braves starts tonight down in Atlanta. Eagles, we are 1 week away from final cutdown day. I've done up. I'm just going to flash it for 0.03 of a second. I've done up my 53-man roster prediction. As of this moment, with 3 practices left, 1 more preseason game, I'm going to go over what I think will be the 53-man roster of this Philadelphia Eagles next week, guys. So they're the 2 main conversation points, plus the little thing I teased yesterday that we'll talk about throughout the show. The best buddy cop duos in movie history. Got me thinking when I was watching Rush Hour 3 on Friday night. So we've got that on the agenda as well. Good morning, K1. How you doing? Right from the get-go in the house today. Hope you are well. Mitchy Poo, how you doing? MK Meets the World. Love the new channel that you're brewing. All right, so yesterday was a rough day for me on social media after the show because of Rob Thompson's slander. And again, I stand by what I said yesterday and what I've said for a while. Phillies fans are so soft in comparison to Eagles fans. Eagles fans, one drive, not even one game, one drive can go bad. Fire Nick Sirianni, fire Howie Roseman, Jalen Hurts sucks, this, that, and the third. The Philadelphia Phillies lose weeks worth of games. It's not Rob Thompson's fault. And I went at it on social media yesterday, far too much for a guy that's got to actually run a restaurant on top of doing all this. And again, said my piece about the poor mismanagement of Sunday's game, Sunday's loss to the Nationals. And, of course, coming out of the woodwork nonstop are the idiots or the nitwits that say you can't have an opinion about the Phillies. If your opinion of Rob Thomson isn't perfect and isn't he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, you are wrong. You're an idiot. You don't know baseball. That's what I keep getting told. But in theory, Rob Thomson, he's a nice guy. He makes a lot of boneheaded decisions. And I was recording an episode of the Philly Sports Conversation with Jason Lee from PHL 17 last night. It'll drop on his channel on Thursday. And I stand by it. When everything is going well, Rob Thompson's a very good manager. But when the shit hits the fan, he makes a lot of questionable decisions. He doesn't know how to pivot at halftime of a game. Oh, this isn't working. Let's go with this. He doesn't know how to do that. And I caught a clip. I don't listen to the show. Obviously, I'm working. But the new Mike Missinelli show, his partner or his producer, I don't know who Bill Colarulo is, but that's his partner on the new show. Mike Missinelli yesterday, I saw this clip, asked him, well, do you like Rob Thomson? And Bill said it perfectly. I like him. I like Rob Thomson. It doesn't mean I have to agree with every managerial decision he makes. And for some reason, Phillies Nation is so dead set that if you disagree with anything Rob Thomson does, you're just a hater. It's crazy. It's crazy. And to some of these comments, Rick says best cop trio. Well, I was going duo, buddy, but if you want to go buddy, yes, Axel Foley, Taggart, and Rosewood are definitely ones there for sure. I thought about putting Beverly Hills Cop just because, he had multiple partners throughout multiple movies. Haven't seen the new one. Saving that for the flight to Mexico in a few weeks. But yeah, most Eagles fans are Matty B's. Yeah, is that right? What is Matty B's? In the moment, you're very pissed for how Topper won't really try and win the game, but there's no way to prove or disprove. Exactly. Look, it's not that I hate Rob Thomson. I'm critical in the moment. And I'm critical of his stubborn attitude. But it doesn't mean I don't like him. It doesn't mean he hasn't had immense amount of success. And there's another thing I'm going to throw in here in a minute, and that's John Middleton. And I don't know if you guys caught John Middleton's thing. It doesn't mean like playing him or not playing them and pinch hitting them. Yeah, maybe they got hurt. Maybe they wouldn't have. But you play to win the game. I've talked nonstop on this show about how Eagles fans would not put up with Rob Thomson. Sixers fans as well. You remember, like, Sunday felt like a scheduled loss. We hated Doc Rivers when Doc Rivers basically blatantly said it was a scheduled loss. But yeah, Rob Thomson, that's no big deal. It's okay. Thompson's mismanagement cost us big time in the playoffs twice. His mismanagement of the bullpen in the playoffs, putting Craig Kimbrell out there, that cost us. There's a lot of things. Everyone's like, oh, well, it's the players that got to execute when it's Rob Thomson. When it's everybody else, it's the coach's fault. If Doc Rivers, when he was here, didn't use the right rotation, or Nick Nurse, it's Nick Nurse or Doc Rivers' fault for not mixing up the rotation, not the players for not executing. The Eagles, it's not the players' fault for not executing the play that was called. It was the coach's fault for calling the play that was called. Rob Thomson, old Andy Reid cliche, got to put the players in a better position to succeed. Did not put the players in a position to succeed on Sunday. And we're coming down to the wire where we want one of those top two seats so we don't have to play in the wild card round. If we miss the wild card round by one game, or we have to play in it because of one game, this is one of the moments we're going to come back and look at why we didn't get that bye. The Algo wants Eagles talk 24/7. Absolutely. And we've got Eagles talk. Like I said, 9 days until the rosters. 9, I thought it was 7. I might have miscounted on my fingers here. Basically, we're about a week away from final cut down. I said it was 7 days. Davey says it's 9. We'll meet in the middle and say 8. So we're going to go over my prediction for the Eagles 53-man roster. I even went Deebs' style and created an Excel spreadsheet with my 53-man roster prediction for today and a little bit of tomorrow as well. So in my mind, it is recreational outrage. Recreational? I don't think I have recreational outrage. I have heated, in the moment, passionate outrage. That's what I have. best cop trio, Riggs, Murtaugh, and Leo gets. Leo will get you what you need. I love it. You can't forget Buttercup or Butternut or whatever Murtaugh used to call Chris Rock's character before he nailed down his name there. That Lethal Weapon 4 was not as bad as people think it was. That was pretty good. I do like Rob Thompson's manager. If it's not an analytical baseball move, Rob is like a fish out of Rob. It's weird, Michael, because Rob is very analytical. Rob's, kind of gives you the vibe of an old school field manager, but he's not. He's a very analytic guy. And in baseball, managing does take a lot of feel. There's got to be a lot of gut instincts and feel when you're managing a baseball team in a baseball game. And he doesn't know how to do it. If the book doesn't say to do it, he doesn't do it. And it's definitely one of my issues with him. Anything short of a World Series championship should cost Thompson his job. Well, John Middleton spoke yesterday, I read his quotes yesterday. I don't know when he actually spoke. And John Middleton said some things that really, really, made me think a little bit. I've said it. What's the level that the Phillies have to succeed or reach this year for Rob Thomson to be back? John Middleton said some things. That he owns the Phillies. It's a private business that he owns. But it is not a private business because the business and the Phillies are accountable to the fans. And I love what John Middleton said. John Middleton put not just a target on Rob Thomson, but the entire team. That he's not going to accept this kind of these little drop-offs if we don't succeed. He put $300 million on the table for this team. He spent $300 million. It is a private business that's run publicly for the fans of this city. He basically said, guys, you better shape up and play like it's May, June again, and not like you have for the last month or so. He didn't say all that. He just said we got to play like May and June again. Very rarely do you hear John Middleton talk. And when he talks, you listen. Good morning, Joe. How you doing? Just reminder, Didi Gregorius was deferred payments of oh my God. Seriously? I forgot. August 29th. So 7 days away because today's already started. So it doesn't count. The 29th is the day. So that doesn't count. So realistically, there's like 3 hours till cut downs. That's by my math right there. Here's an easy way to debunk it. I'm not going to manage the same way in October. Then you'll have the same strepper like Marcus Hayes say, aren't you telling your team losing is okay? Well, see, here's the thing, though. He does coach the same way in October. He is a stubborn SOB in October, just like in the regular season. Hence, Craig Kimbrell being used when he was already burned out. And I don't know who should have been in those moments, but you knew Craig Kimbrell shouldn't last year. And Craig Kimbrell, as expected, blew every single game he pitched in the playoffs last year. So Rob Thomson does manage the same way. And Marcus Hayes, say what you will about him. Aren't you telling your team you're losing? We talked about this with the Sixers during Doc Rivers' era here. Setting an example that losing sometimes is okay. That's not good come the playoff time. Putting Kimbrell, Kirkland not shaking up the lineup against Arizona in the playoffs last year. Absolutely. And I think John Middleton is pissed at this. I think John Middleton is unhappy with this. One of the reasons the Phillies supposedly hired Robbie was because of his feel for the game of baseball. Look, I say it. I know everybody wants to talk Eagles, and we're going to get to Eagles here in a little bit. But I got to finish these Phillies things for a few seconds here. Rob Thomson, I said it before, I'll say it again, should not have been guaranteed a head coaching job after the Phillies trip to the World Series. I get why they gave him the job. I understand why he earned it because, taking a team that was struggling to the World Series. But I firmly believe Rob Thomson caught lightning in a bottle with the switch from Joe Girardi to him. I firmly believe that at the very least they should have interviewed other people after the 2022 season. And we might not be here with Rob Thomson right now. I firmly believe that Rob Thomson really, truly, like he said, wanted to retire before the 2022 season. but kind of has been coerced back into management. I think he's only here right now because of his connection to the players, athletes, employees, people in general. They don't need best friends they don't need to be best friends with their bosses. They don't need to look at their boss's dad or mom. They need to look at it as somebody that's going to set an example and hold the example throughout the entire season. Rob Thomson does not do that. Look, like let all the oh my goodness. You love making random political. I think you really troll me with these every single day. Anything short of a championship for both the Phillies and Eagles this season is anything but a failure, is an absolute failure. Look, getting to the championship game, getting to the World Series for the Phillies is my expectation. A lot can happen between now and then, injuries and whatnot. One injury happens, they should still at least get there. We'll see who and what the momentum is, whatever. But getting to the World Series. The Eagles, I expect and hope a Super Bowl appearance, but the way the playoffs play out and seeding, it'll matter. So I don't want to put Super Bowl or fire everyone on the Eagles. There are still, in my opinion, question marks on the Eagles until week 1 in Brazil. I don't know if I could put what kind of expectations on this team, big picture. I think it's hard to do, but success is mandatory. And John Middleton said it. Jeffrey Lurie's not afraid to cut ties with people. John Middleton sounds like he doesn't want to. He's not going to waste time. He's not going to waste $300 million on a team that can't get there. Topper got the job because he wasn't Girardi. He got promoted because Girardi was fired. It really could have been Joe the Plumber. I literally think exactly, News. If anybody took over in 2022, they could have turned it into 2022, just like now, super talented team that was underachieving. So anybody could have helped catch lightning in a bottle that year. But they didn't have to keep him. They could have let him ride off in the sunset, almost on that high of winning a World Series. We're getting to the World Series. That's all. They could have. They could have brought somebody else in and, trolls on Twitter will be like, well, who did you want? I don't know. Just saying the theory that they didn't have to bring him back. There's the conversation of, do you like Rob Thomson as a person or manager? Liking a guy and thinking he's the right person to manage this team to the pinnacle of a World Series championship, two totally different things. Liking a guy and criticizing his in the heat of the moment decision-making sometimes is what passionate fans are made of. And I think a lot of there's a little back and forth here is people don't realize it's overreacting to in-the-moment stuff, like we do with the Eagles, like we do with the Sixers on a game-by-game basis. We overreact and criticize every moment. But in baseball, for some reason, you can't do that. Phillies are World Series or bust. There is too much talent. Yeah. World Series reaching, World Series championship, I don't know. But yeah, there's a damn lot. And that's why you have John Middleton out there speaking so freely about we represent the fans. We're accountable to the fans. I wish Josh Harris would say something like that to Sixers Nation. We're accountable to you. But Josh Harris don't give a rat's ass. Good morning, Little G. How you doing? Ryan Swab, how you doing, my man? Hope you're well. I really believe Thomson knows he shouldn't trust guys, but is afraid of making guys upset. Yeah, he's too busy trying to be their best friend. What makes a better parent? Your parent being your best friend or your parent being a parent? I think that kind of goes into it. I brought this up yesterday after the John Middleton comments. I said that Rob Thomson, Dave Dombrowski, and all the stars are on the clock from John Middleton. Everyone's like, oh, Rob Thomson maybe, but Dave Dombrowski's fine. Dave Dombrowski failed to improve this team drastically at the trade deadline. So I don't know. What's up, Brian? Joe the Plumber wouldn't have been afraid to use Harper. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Josh Harris don't care about the Sixers as he's too busy trying to get. Yeah, absolutely. I said I've never been a fan of Josh Harris, Michael. But as soon as he hired, or as soon as he bought the Commanders, I said it then, I'll say it again. His desire or care about the Philadelphia 76ers went from little to completely out the window. because he just does not care anymore about the Sixers. It prints him money. He's basically, I would almost say like Daryl Morey is the owner of the Sixers at this point because, I mean, he's not the owner, but he's just pretty much the only one that even shows up in that office there. Josh Harris don't care. Got a long comment here from Ryan. Barely see my face over the comment. Thompson, every time he starts a backup position player, he makes sure he doesn't upset them. Yeah, I get that. When they start, they'll play the whole game and make sure the stars get a full. Yeah, I get all that. I get it. But again, you still could have pinch hit at those moments. Maybe everybody in the Phillies team organization have gotten a little too comfortable. Very fair, Rick. And I think that's why John Middleton made the statements he made, because he feels like they're getting a little too comfortable there. What's up, Bryce Harper? How you doing today? Unless Stott, Rojas, and Marshall heavily contributing, this team has no shot unless other team stars keep falling by the wayside. Yeah, I mean, we need these guys to step up. We do. And the Phillies do start. We'll wrap this up here. Start a very, very long, tough stretch. 3 in Atlanta, followed by 3 in Kansas City, followed by 3 against the Astros back home, and 4 more at home against the Braves. We got 2 weeks of baseball without a day off and some really tough opponents. 7 against our division rival Braves. And I'm switching my side screen to the standings. I think we're at 7.5. 7 game lead over the Braves. So technically, the Braves sweep us for 2 series. We could be tied for first. The Mets are down to only 8.5 back. So this division, it's comfortable to lead, but it's not as lock solid as people think. And actually, I think, hold on, let me go back to the Phillies schedule. Not only are we only 7 up on the Braves with 7 against them, we also have 7 games against the Mets later this month, well, in the middle of September. So there's a lot of division games for the Phillies to be played. What do the Phillies have to do in this next 3 games against the Braves? Do we expect, do we hope, do we need to see a 2-1 record? Do we need to see them dominate the Braves? Yes, we do. If we come out of this and we get to Friday against the Astros and we've lost 2 or 3 of the Braves, and that lead shrunk another down to 6, we're going to be sweating a little bit. Of course, they should be pinch hitting starters, but Thompson won't do it. Exactly. Middleton should fire Robbie and Dabrowski after the season, bring in Theo and Francona. I don't know if Theo and Francona are the guy. I don't know if they will fire the guys or not. But I think John Middleton has made enough of a statement in the last 24 hours to say, you better wake up. You better look in the camera and say, good morning. Phil, I feel some of the job of the managers to make good in-game decisions. Yeah. Everyone always says that managers in baseball don't affect the outcome of games as much as football, as much as basketball or hockey do. And I totally disagree with that. A baseball manager still has a lot of roles, and making sure the team keeps their edge is part of that role. And this Phillies team has no edge right now. The next few weeks will give us an indication of whether players can save Thompson's job. Look, you can't tell me Bryce Harper isn't a little upset that he didn't get the opportunity on Sunday to win it for his team. Of course, we have the talent to win. I said it before. Everyone says, look at Rob Thomson's record as a manager. And how can you say a single thing negative about Rob Thomson when his record as the Phillies manager is whatever? It's extraordinary. He's taken us to a World Series. He's taken us to the playoffs. Nick Sirianni has a great record. Nick Sirianni's taken us to a Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni's taken us to the playoffs. So what has Nick Sirianni done that Rob Thomson's done? But we're always ready to talk about should Rob Thomson be or Nick Sirianni should be fired. But Rob Thomson, no. But I've said it, and I'll say it again, and this is again, I like Rob Thomson. I just don't like all the decisions he makes. This team wins despite Rob Thomson on the regular. Wins despite him because there is so much talent. Just think about it. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler in that rotation, top tier elite talent. Ranger Suarez and Chris Sanchez have been good, are great this year, but they're not superstars. You got Trey Turner, superstar. Bryce Harper, superstar. JT Realmuto, superstar. Nick Castellanos used to be a superstar. playing really well right now. Kyle Schwarber, star player. Alec Boehm, emerging star player. So they win despite what he does. Do you believe there is a true leader on this team? Money aside, see, and I think this is a very good question, Joe. I mean, on the Eagles, we know who the leaders are. Used to be Fletcher Cox on the defense with Darius Slay. I'm not sure who's going to step up opposite of Darius Slay. On the offense, you know A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts lead that offense. I think Jordan Mailata is the next biggest leader on this offense, but we know who the leaders are on the Eagles. On the Sixers, we know Joel Embiid leads this team. Tyrese Maxey's a leader on this team. Who's the leader on the Phillies? We claim Bryce Harper is, but I don't think he is. We think Kyle Schwarber is, but Kyle Schwarber isn't the guy that's going to dress you down and tell you that you need to step up. He kind of leads the same way as Rob Thomson does. That was the key about the 93 Phillies. You had three leaders that led differently. You had John Kruk, Darren Dalton, and Lenny Dykstra, the three big leaders on that team. And they all led by example, but different ways. And this team doesn't have it. They don't have that Lenny Dykstra personality. They don't have that John Kruk personality. They have a bunch of Darren Daltons. But that's about it. Rob Thomson or Doc Rivers? Well, I don't know about that. That's a tough one, Mitchie Poo. How about pass? I'm going to use my pass on that one. Look at Barry Switzer's record. Yeah, Barry Switz. That's a good one going back there. That's a good example. As a Philly guys, like Dave Montgomery, but we didn't talk about this. The David Montgomery and that Phillies alumni weekend. It's always so well done. Yeah, they love the Phillies. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bill Giles, Dave Montgomery, and now John Middleton. It's an example of what owners and leaders of an organization should act and feel. And Jeffrey Lurie is the same way as well. Phillies and Dombrowski were the only bumbling fool team to ever hire. Yeah, Robbie was a bench coach for 500 years. Cassie JT Schwarbs are the glue of the team. But who's the one that's going to go in that locker room and tear it up and be like, yo, we suck right now. Get your shit together. None of them are like that. None of them are those kind of outgoing leaders. A baseball team needs the JT Schwarbs glue guy. And then they also need the fiery, passionate guy. Bryce Harper seems like he should be, but he's not. And I'm not sure why. I feel Charlie Manuel was a good manager. He had emotion. Charlie Manuel, I criticized Charlie Manuel a lot too before he won a World Series. Once he won a World Series, he was a god to me. But Rob Thomson or Charlie Manuel at least holds some of his players accountable occasionally. Yeah, he was their Uncle Charlie. He was the Rob Thomson kind of buddy. But he also knew how to bench Jimmy Rollins for 3 games when he didn't run out a ground ball. Rob Thomson never has the guts to do that. That 93 team didn't win anything. In fact, they lead to biggest team heartbreak ever. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, you're not wrong there at all. But look, I just wanted to make sure I put this out there into the world in words versus tweets one more time. It's not that I don't like Rob Thomson. It's not that I think he's the worst manager of all time. It's that the fact that we can like or dislike Rob Thomson, but when we're critical of him, we're critical of him in the heat of the moment when we're overanalyzing the decision on the spot he makes. And those sometimes aren't right. And it is okay to criticize Rob Thomson, Phillies Nation. It is okay to say Rob Thomson hasn't done a good job at times. Yet people just feel the need to not criticize him. I know Charlie wasn't perfect, but he had guts and Thomson covers. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he had that. Yeah, absolutely. Josh Harris cared about the Sixers when TJ McConnell was beating Carmelo with buzzer beaters. Yeah. I still remember that TJ McConnell. He goes and flexes, then he gets carded at freaking Xfinity Live afterwards and doesn't have his ID, so can't get in. Love it. I don't believe in Rob Thomson. Just say his name, MK, and he appears. All right. I think we've gotten some Phillies talk in. We can continue with the Phillies talk throughout the show as people come in, but it's time to pivot to some Eagles talk here in a second. Remember when Thompson put Kimbrel in back-to-back playoff games? Yeah. Look, I get you. Everyone says that Kimbrel blew the playoffs last year. No, Rob Thomson did. Not just in that moment, though, Bruce. You go back and look at it. I forget. I didn't think Craig Kimbrel. I would need Craig Kimbrel's stats today, so I don't have it in front of me. But Craig Kimbrel pitched more innings last year than he did in the previous 5 or 10 years of his career. And he was, 38 years old? Rob Thomson burned him out in July, pitched him 4 out of every 5 days for 4 or 5 straight weeks. Burned him out. Then you knew by the time the playoffs got here, Kimbrel was spent. You still trotted him out there every single night. And every night he blew it. And it wasn't shocking that he blew it. I don't think Craig Kimbrel in the playoffs last year could have held a 9-run lead. It was that bad. Thomson kept going to him. Which is weird because Thomson also was the guy that didn't believe in a set closer. But all of a sudden with Craig Kimbrel, we were back to a set closer, which was kind of annoying as well. They should bring Charlie Manuel back. I wish, my man, but I don't think he physically, health-wise, could do it. Completely mismanaged Mitch Williams. Absolutely. Jim Fregosi, Mitch Williams, Craig Kimbrel, Rob Thomson. Very, very similar mirrored pass in 93 and 23. For sure. Without a doubt. Guys, if you need sporting tickets, whether it's to a Phillies game, or whether it's to an Eagles game, or whether it's to any a sporting event that you want to go to, the Sixers season schedule just came out. Whether you need concert tickets as the summer concert swings into the fall concert series, theater tickets to take the wife on a date night, check out SherryTickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. They're the premier ticket resale organization out there. Great prices, no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Check them out, SherryTickets.com. When you go to their website, sign up, use promo code EOP10. On top of the great prices, you'll save an additional 10%. Why would you overpay with the rest when you could save with the best? SherryTickets.com. Promo code EOP10. Guys, you're watching Training the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. I'm Phil Stiefel. Guys, we are going to talk a little Eagles and 53-man roster predictions as well here on top of what we have been discussing, which is, again, the Phillies and Rob Thomson. And, again, buddy cop duos. Got to discuss as well. Actually, I had hope when I saw Tommy Green warming up in the pen. Tommy Green, I met him a few times. Fantastic individual. The Phillies and Robbie are already giving up a game as they're going to use a bullpen by committee. Stupid. Phil, I love your show, and it's the best part. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Bryce. Bryce. I called you Bryce accidentally that time. Sometimes I do it jokingly. That time it was accidental. Thank you, Bruce. I always love to hear the people that enjoy it. I'm glad you found it. I'm glad you're part of the show every morning here. Alvarado is the Kimbrel of this team now. Alvarado ain't going to see a high leverage moment in the playoffs at all. EOP10. That's right. Starsky and Hutch for my buddy cop movie duo. So here's the thing. They're not even in my top 5. I think the Starsky and Hutch movie, it was Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, I believe. A massively dumpster fire of a movie, in my opinion. Again, now mind you, I liked the TV show. I watched reruns of the TV show growing up. My dad always made me watch all the old school shows. The movie just did not hold up to the TV show. So maybe I'm a little biased on that. I still think Rush Hour, Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker are the absolute best duo, buddy cop dysfunction duo ever to grace our screen. I know you're joking, and it's okay if you make a mistake every time. Yeah, I appreciate it. So sometimes I'm joking. Sometimes I'm serious. Good morning, Duck. What is up, my man? Sherlock and Watson. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Sherlock Holmes and Watson, I don't know if I really seen all of the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies. but the one I saw didn't really impress me much. So I don't know. I love the theory and the stories of Sherlock Holmes, but the movies, I don't know. I don't know. It's still Rush Hour to me. Number one. I have to get ready for work now. Hey, well, have a great one, my man. Have a great Tuesday. It's going to be not even 70 today out there. It's August 20th. We've had the hottest summer of all time here in Philadelphia. Yet it's August 20th, and today's high is going to be 68, and it's going to dip to like 51 tonight in August. Like Mother Nature has given us heat waves galore, massive storms galore, and now is throwing a cool front into the middle of summer. Crazy. What? What's this? I don't know. Jack Coates and Reggie Hammond. All right, guys. Eagles, 53-man roster prediction. I want to, there we go. You guys got to see a little bit of my face. Let all the logos show up there. How about doing the best cop duo TV show or best cop TV show? That could be another show. That could be another episode. Today we're talking cop movies, duo or cop buddy cop movies. We'll do TV shows or things like that later on. But we're definitely doing movies right now. If we're going to do buddy cop movies based off of TV shows, we can throw, here we go, underrated one, also with Owen Wilson in it, also with Mr. Axel Foley in it as well. I Spy, based off of a TV show from the 70s. Maybe it was even the 60s. I Spy is a fantastic movie, and Owen Wilson and Eddie Murphy were a fantastic duo in that movie. Good morning, everyone. Fantasy football is almost here. Guys, I'm so over fantasy football. Fantasy football does nothing for me anymore. It really does. Like season-long fantasy football, that is. And I don't know if anybody else feels that way about fantasy football. Like, I've been living and breathing fantasy football my whole life. I will not be in a single season-long league this year. I'm going to have my best ball leagues. I'm going to do DFS stuff weekly. Might even start a DFS or fantasy football show on occasion. But let me tell you something. I'm so over fantasy football. Like, just years and years of doing it with a lot of success. Some down years, but a lot of success. I'm just not into it anymore. And I don't know what it is or why it is. I don't get into it anymore. Barney Miller, mic drop. I don't know if that's a mic drop. The movie I Spy was fantastic. It was hilarious. It was a really good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's underrated. 48 Hours was the movie that taught me how to curse. Dad, what does it mean to get, oh my goodness. DFS, one and done, season long. I don't care what it is. I'm a degenerate. Yeah, absolutely. Look, got a little Fairway to Heaven talk tonight. 6 o'clock, talking this week's BMW Championship for golf DFS and golf betting. But yeah, man, let me tell you, I can't wait to go on a rapid fire best ball draft day coming up soon, where I'm just going to draft nonstop all day long my best ball lineups. I can't help myself. I love best balls. Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte shouldn't work, but did so well. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so what I got up on the screen here is where we are now. You know, Davey reminded me it's not 7 days, 9 days away till final cut down day. We have 3 practices left today, tomorrow, and Thursday. There's a Friday off and then a preseason game on Saturday. And then next week, the roster construction starts with cut downs and stuff. No more is it that you have to get from 93 to 82 to 75 or whatever the numbers were, like it has been over the years, like last couple of years now. All cut downs happen at the same time. And there is not as many, in my opinion. Like when I sat down yesterday to type up my 53-man roster prediction, as you see on the screen, deep style. We can edit it as we go. I don't think it came that difficult. Now, I think there are some difficult decisions to make where I think if the roster stays as is, this is how it plays out. But with cut downs coming on other teams, I think some of these guys I even have on my 53-man roster are not making the roster by week 1 after other teams make their decisions and stuff like that. So let's rapid fire through some of these names here. Obviously, quarterback is locked. It's Hurts, Pickett, it's McKay. I still think Pickett will remain quarterback 2 in game. Now, if Hurts has to miss a game from the start, maybe McKay starts over Pickett, but Pickett will be the backup quarterback because he's got more experience. I think it's only going to be 3 running backs, Barkley, Gainwell, Shipley. None of the other guys are going to make the team. Now, based off of where the roster is now, wide receivers, I got them keeping 5. Brown and Smitty are locks. I think Covey is a stone-cold lock. Then I put Campbell and Wilson as the last 2. Not because I think they're locks to make the team, but out of the 7 main names they've got, Aeneas Smith and Joseph Nagata as well, they're the most likely to make it. Now, I could see them keep Smith and keep a 6 wide receiver as well. But to do that, you would have to cut another tight end and go down to 2 tight ends. The stars next to players' names means I think they're on the bubble, and they could still earn that right to bump somebody else down. I think E.J. Jenkins has made the team over C.J. Uzomah. That's just the way I've got it right now. So I got 3, 3, 5, and 3 there to start on the offensive side. The Eagles' number 3 receiver will come in a trade. I don't, and that's why I'm putting Campbell and Wilson there. But I think another wide receiver might be brought in. Hell, maybe 2 wide receivers could be brought in. I can make an argument that outside of A.J. Brown, Smitty, and Covey, none of the other wide receivers on our roster currently deserve to make the Eagles team. I truly firmly believe that is a possibility. I could see them only keeping 4 wide receivers. Covey, whoever they trade for, and then keep 4 tight ends. Because nobody, Johnny Wilson, Paris Campbell, who's been hurt, Aeneas Smith, Joseph, none of them have stood out. None of them have gone out, and there's a position right there. Nobody's reached out and grabbed that. And that's kind of frustrating to me. Would you blow away the preseason in return for starting on August 15th and having 4 bye weeks? Of course, money would dictate no, but would you? So you're talking about adding multiple weeks. Well, look, first, I want 2 bye weeks. I think they will get to 18 games, Noom, so whatever that means. I don't actually think they would start the season any sooner because I think eventually the Super Bowl will be on President's Day weekend, so that more people get the Monday after the Super Bowl off. But I think when they go to 18 games, they will make it 2 bye weeks. We've talked about on this show before, Nooms. I think the bye weeks, at least one of them, should be consistent for everybody. I know they won't do that and have no football 1 week, but whatever. Or even 3 bye weeks. Yeah, I think 2 bye weeks is where the NFL will go once they get to that 18th game. I think they'll add 2 weeks to the season, a second bye, and an 18th game. EJ is younger and more athletic. They may keep 2 tight ends on the 53, but and to keep the cornerbacks. But yeah, hold on. I just want to see. I do know 1 year they kept, at least 1 year they only kept 2 tight ends. I got a page back in my notes here. Here it is. They kept 2. So last year they kept 4 tight ends and only 4 wide receivers. 3 tight ends in 2022, 4 in 2021. In 2019 and 2020, they kept 2 tight ends. Actually, in the last 6 years, they've kept 4 tight ends 3 times. So there is a scenario where Uzomah and Jenkins make this team, and then they go back to 4 wide receivers. There is a distinct possibility of that. But see, Duck, when we page down here further on my predictions here, you'll see that I've got them keeping 10 offensive linemen, not the extra cornerback. Because I think that's where right now, with the situation with the offensive line, we're going to go over this in a second here, with the injuries to Steen, with the banged up Landon Dickerson, banged up Mekhi Becton, who reports our Becton's injury isn't serious and he should be good to go. But with those scenarios, I can see a scenario play out where they want to keep a 10th offensive lineman early on because of the injuries. Just as a security blanket, just to be safe. Yes, please hit that like button. Please, 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 I beg you, hit it, like, share, subscribe, follow, do it all. Check the description of the show. Links to my personal YouTube page, which I do some extra work on. If I do any fantasy football stuff, it'll be on my personal page. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the EOP page and the Trending in the AM page. Make sure you subscribe and follow everything, guys. I'd greatly appreciate it. So let me page down this a little bit here and go. So I've got 10 offensive linemen. Obviously, the starters are locked. Mailata and Lane Johnson, your bookend tackles. Juergens, your center. Becton and Dickerson banged up, but will be your starters. I think Fred Johnson, locked to make the team. Tyler Steen's a lock to make the team. But maybe there's a chance he goes on PUP list or IR, short-term IR, which would then give you an extra position. I think they like Keegan and Kennard, and I've liked what I've seen from those two, that they'll make the team. And I think Toth will be the 10th offensive lineman. I don't like Toth, but Toth can play guard, tackle, and center, which gives him a lot of flexibility there with that position. McMahon and Hennessy are two guys I think are on the bubble. Hennessy was brought in expectations to make the team. He's been bad, but they do like veteran experience on the offensive line. You got a lot of young guys outside of Lane Johnson. So maybe he has a chance. I don't know. And Dylan McMahon could beat out Kennard or Keegan, I think. But I think Keegan and Kennard are ahead of him right now. So McMahon's a guy that'll probably go to the practice squad. But most years they keep 9 offensive linemen. I'm going 10. And that's where, one less tight end or one less, wide receiver comes into play for me because of the banged up offensive line, because of the second string not performing well in preseason games. I think they go with more than less at the offensive line position. I really do, especially considering Becton is banged up, especially considering Landon Dickerson is banged up. 10 likes is just not good enough. MK, are you liking it under MK and Michipu? I mean, 4 of those likes are from me because I got access to 4 accounts, and I like it through 4 accounts. So that means only 6 of you that have watched today have hit like. There's 10 likes on Facebook, one of which is me. Under, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see when we get down to the secondary here, MK. If you would have asked me 3-4 weeks ago, you damn well know Bradbury was on my 53-man roster. But now I don't think so. I'm so locked and solid on that one. There should be 2 bye weeks. In the second bye week, the whole league should be off and play a division game after the bye week. Line it up with football, college rivalry week, and let college play on Sunday. Yeah, I get this, Steve, and I'd be okay with it. They just won't do that. Maybe you do it where the second bye week, half the league gets off week 10, half the week gets off week 11. Do all AFC matchups, division matchups in week 10, and then give them all the week off. Then give week 11 all NFC matchups, and I don't know, something like that. I think there's something along those lines there that is possible. All right. So no real arguments from anybody on my offensive 53-man roster. Again, going 3 quarterbacks, obviously, 3 running backs, 5 wide receivers right now, but they could go 4. And maybe Uzma makes the 4th tight end spot. And I'm going 10 offensive linemen. I think that offense is pretty locked and set there. I don't think there's many battles outside of wide receiver and the last offensive line spot. Bradbury still being here makes me wonder what Fangio thinks of the secondary talent. I think they wanted Bradbury to be good. I think they wanted Bradbury to figure it out. Bradbury isn't figuring it out. And as we get into this defense here, you can see, obviously, at the bottom of the list, special teams, Elliott, Mann, Lovato. They're fine. They're locked solid there. This is what I got. I've broken it out different. Some people do defensive tackle, edge, outside line, all separated. I just put your front 5 all together. Okay. Now, as you can see down below, I only have 3 safeties making the rosters: Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship, and Tristan McCullum. Now, that's because I put Avonte Maddox in the cornerback group because he is a cornerback, but I think there is a scenario where Maddox is your 3rd safety and McCullum's your 4th safety. So I could have put Maddox under safety. I actually did have him there, and then I flipped it and put him in the cornerback category here. I've got 7 cornerbacks in Darius Slay, Rogers, Ringo, Mitchell, DeJean, Ricks, and Maddox. McPherson, first guy on the cut list. I thought about cutting Ricks as well and keeping an extra player elsewhere. I think Eli Ricks could make it to the practice squad. I think they keep him for at least the start of the season. So I've got Bradbury's out. I got Stearns out. I got Sam out. McPherson all out. And this is how I see the secondary. We'll get to the linebackers and linemen in a minute, but this is how I see the secondary at this moment. I think Bradbury could still make this team. I don't think McPherson could. I think he's cut or on the practice squad. Stearns, I don't think he has a chance. I think he's just cut. I think Bradbury could beat out McCollum if he has 3 great practices and a great preseason game on Saturday. I really, truly, truly believe that. Maybe it was Howard's plan for salvage. What? Landon Dickerson was a great center in college, and he's probably better than Juergens at it. I would keep an extra guard instead of an extra center. Yeah, so that's in comments towards the Brett Toth conversation. Look, they like Toth. He can play tackle guard and center. I don't think Toth is very good at center. I don't think Toth is very good at all. But he is flexible. And yes, Landon Dickerson was a great center in college. There's no doubt about that, Mista. But he's also an all-pro left guard. So you're going to give Cam Juergens a shot, and if he can't do it, I don't think you slide Landon Dickerson over, because then that puts a huge hole at left guard. And who you going to – you move Dickerson over to center, who you putting in Landon Dickerson's spot? I don't know. It's that age-old theory that I hate, that you fix one hole, but in the process of fixing the hole, you create a bigger hole. Landon Dickerson is probably one of the 3 or 4 best left guards, maybe the best left guard in all of football right now. Got his big extension. That turned out to be pennies on the dollar once a couple other guys got their extensions, power up to Howie Roseman. I think Landon Dickerson, the center, is a dead done conversation. I get what you're saying, but I don't think they will ever consider putting Landon Dickerson at center ever again, unless it's an emergency situation. But again, back to the Eagles defense and the secondary. As of today, I still think Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, and Quinion Mitchell, they're your starting 3. I think Ringo's going to be first off the bench. I think Maddox, if Chauncey Gardner-Johnson can't go, will start at safety week 1. I think Cooper DeJean is going to be very, very slowly mixed in. But I think there's going to be, so to speak, a rotation between Slay, Rodgers, Ringo, and Mitchell. I think there's going to be almost like just like they like to rotate their linemen in and out and keep a rotation. The secondary might be talented enough where they can have a rotation in the secondary to keep Darius Slay fresh for the playoffs, to keep him from getting banged up. I think they can run a rotation in the secondary. And I don't think it's a terribly awful idea. There's an argument to be made that Keely Ringo is actually better than Isaiah Rodgers. Now, it seems like the Eagles like him better, but we'll see. I think you're going to see a little bit of a rotation there, along with linebacker, which we're going to get into in a minute here, on this team. I really, truly believe the rotation is coming in the secondary. And then once Cooper DeJean gets up to speed and can get on the field more regularly, then you're really stuck. Now, the question is, everyone wants to say, is the Eagles' defense actually better or not? Let's be realistic. The Eagles' defense was dog trash last year. It was awful, especially in the second half of the season. You've replaced some of the bad people with inexperienced young rookies or guys that don't have long track records. We are all assuming Keely Ringo, Isaiah Rodgers, Quinion Mitchell, Jeremiah Trotter, Nakobe Dean, Devin White, all these guys are going to be much better than last year. But the same lack of disciplined players are still on this team. Is Jordan Davis going to stay in shape? I don't know. Is Jalen Carter going to get past the rookie wall? I don't know. And so I want to put out there into the public eye, look, I have expectations and hope that the Eagles defense is going to be drastically different, dramatically different this year. But I don't know if it's true or not. Is it, Marshawn? Because I said it and I never really thought of it before. And it's just kind of something that just popped into my head. You rotate defensive linemen all the time. You can't rotate secondary guys. You can't do instead of Darius Slay playing 99 to 100% snaps, Would it really affect his groove, his flow of the game by having him sit a series here or there? And this is not a sarcastic. I'm legitly asking. If it doesn't affect defensive linemen being in the flow of the game by rotating in and out, would it affect cornerbacks or safeties? It's a legit question. And I don't know the answer. And if it does affect their momentum and their rhythm, then obviously no, I wouldn't want to do it. But I feel like that you could probably rotate through some of those guys and keep them fresher throughout the season. I'm thinking Juergens gets hurt. Trevor Keegan looks really good. Dickerson slides to center and Keegan play left guard. I don't know. First and foremost, mister, let's just hope this never happens. Let's just hope Juergens is the center of the future. All reports out of camp, mister, is that Cam Juergens is having an excellent camp, is picking up the Jason Kelce slack as best as can be expected. He's actually more athletic and more physical than Jason Kelce. The only thing that Cam Juergens doesn't have that Kelce did is the brain power, the smarts. That comes with experience and time. So let's hope he doesn't get hurt. Let's hope nobody gets hurt. But if they do, I guess in the pinch in the middle of a game, excuse me, in the middle of a game, I guess. But what we think and what they will do, two totally different things. And they are very high for some weird reason. It's like the Sua Apeda. They loved him, and he was Stewart. Brett Toth, he's not that good. But yet they seem to like Brett Toth a lot. All right, up to the linebackers and defensive line. Let's go linebackers first. I got them actually keeping 5 linebackers on the roster, which I think is a reach. I don't know if Ben Van Sumeren makes it or not. But White, Bond, Dean, Trotter, again, just like the cornerbacks, I can see the linebackers rotating in and out in different scenarios. Used to see linebackers play 95, 100% of snaps. You're not. Devin White and Bond might play 65, 70, 35 for Dean, 10 for Trotter. They like Ben Van Sumeren. I don't think he makes it to the practice squad. So they may try to keep him early on just to keep him out of other teams' hands. Brandon Smith has had a really solid camp. I just think it's a long shot for him to make the roster. I guess if you want to keep another player somewhere else, you could try to cut Ben Van Sumeren and see if you can get him to the practice squad. I just don't know if it's possible. Maybe you know, I don't know. I don't know how that'll play out, but I think all 5 make the team at this point. Again, this is now with 3 practices and 1 preseason game. Monday morning, I might have this list completely edited. Maybe I'll use color changing codes to edit it and all. The defensive line, edge, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call all those people. I got them keeping 11. Davis Carter, Williams, Nolan Smith, Moro Ojomo, Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Bryce Huff, Felix Hunt. I do have them keeping Tupelodu and Patrick Johnson. I really do think those 2 guys can find a role. Tupelodu and Ojomo as your 4th and 5th defensive tackle. Patrick Johnson, I think the kid can play a little bit. Now, Booker and Hall are guys that are fighting maybe for that last spot. Maybe they keep Booker over Ben Van Sumeren. My only problem with Booker is really simple. That he got a sack in a preseason game and he didn't do a spin-a-rooney. With a name like Booker and a sack and the opportunity to do a sack dance and you don't do a spin-a-rooney, that kind of knocked them out of making the roster for me. And I'm not legitly choking at all. That is why he's on the bubble first cut list and not actually on the roster. Just saying. Tupelodu and Patrick Johnson are guys that could also get cut if you want to keep somebody else somewhere else. I think they're going to want to keep as much depth on this line as possible. I think that all these guys, I think 11 guys, are making the team right here. But yes, I did cut him for one reason. No Yeet. No Yeet. Yeet is the dumbest damn thing in the goddamn world. Khalil Mack will be an Eagle this year. Really? Marshawn. Really? 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 Why? And how? I think the how is the bigger question than the why. What's it going to cost you to get him? I don't even know what kind of shape Khalil Mack's in anymore. He used to be one of the best, if not the best, edge guy in the business. But I don't know. Do we still need help on the edge? Looking at this line, still don't know where the sacks are coming from. I used to say Nolan Smith was going to lead this team in sacks. Now I'm thinking it might be Josh Sweat. I don't know. But I stand by my original statement that I don't think a single guy on this team gets to 10 sacks. I think whoever leads the team in sacks, maximum is 9.5. There's no double-digit sack guy on this team currently. Khalil Mack is a double-digit sack guy. Well, that's very disappointing. Yeet? No yeet for me. 4th or 5th rounder. What? Give me like a little backstory. What's Khalil Mack done the last year or two? It's been a few years since his elite play, I think. I could be totally wrong on that. Honestly, I don't even remember where. Is he still with the Bears? I don't even know where he is right now. Khalil Mack has been so far from my mind. I didn't even know he was available in a trade at this point. So that's that. So much talent in this secondary. I wouldn't want the responsibility of deciding. Is there, though? I think we might be putting the shoe before the horn. We might be jumping the gun on the secondary, on this defense as a whole, a little bit. There's a lot of you're relying on Quinion Mitchell, who we love. Never done it yet. Cooper DeJean, injured, just coming back. Isaiah Rodgers, good. Could be great. Keely Ringo didn't really start to play till late last year. Couldn't even beat out James Bradbury for snaps throughout most of the year last year. There are question marks. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship, oft injured. Boom bust type players. Look, if everything goes right, if Vic Fangio's got this defense disciplined, sure. But let's just be cautiously optimistic, please, about this defense as a whole. Because this defense is not as different as people think from last year's, which was a total and complete and total disaster. Howie will always invest on, absolutely. And rightfully so, Mister, or Marshawn. I mean, you know I love the trenches. Offensive, defensive line, edge, tackle, guard, whatever. You know I love. That's why I've got 10 offensive linemen making my 53-man roster and 11 of the 11 defensive front 5 making the roster. Because I really think he does value that position. And I think he's starting to value it more and more. So if he's available and the price is right, you damn well better believe that they'll go get. This is another thing right here. Saw someone update it the other day. The Eagles still have like $26 million in cap space. Now, you can roll some of that over into next year. I don't think you can roll all of it, but I could be wrong there. And there's probably more extensions that got to be given out, i.e. Milton Williams. But you got a lot of money there. So you could still add this year a wide receiver. Khalil Mack. A safety? Anything? Bueller? Mack, did he have, must have been the most quiet double-digit sacks then that I can remember. Because honestly, I don't even remember Khalil Mack's name once coming up last year. Hold on. I'm pulling up his Pro Football Reference page right now on another screen here. Khalil Mack, he is now 33. He was with the Chargers last year. He had 17 sacks last year. Is that accurate? Did he literally have 17 sacks? It's the years before that. He had in 22, he only had 8. He only had 6 in the year before that. So he went from 2018, his last breakout year, or his last big year with the Bears, had a couple down years. He had a year that he was injured in 21 a little bit. And then he had 17 last year. Okay. All right. Well, I have to real quick double check his contract situation. If this is even on, they don't have it on the Pro Reference Football page. Not sure his contract situation is, but I'm definitely on board. He had 17 sacks last year. All right, now I'm convinced. Huff is coming to his own. Sweaty hasn't lost his juice. That's a relief. How come we haven't heard of big plays by Slay? All right, so 3 different things here to talk about. Huff, coming into his own. I am concerned, Travis, and I've said it before with Bryce. Last year was his third or fourth year in the league, the first time he broke out with the Jets last year. He only played like 45% of the snaps on defense last year. Yes, he had double-digit sacks, but he did not play a lot. He's replacing Hassan Reddick, who played 75% of snaps or more, who had double-digit sacks, who had a track record of doing it. What's Hassan Reddick have? 6-7 years straight of double-digit sacks? So I'm hopeful that Huff is coming into his own, but there's no guarantee. Josh Sweat, for a year and a half stretch, 22 through the beginning part of 23, was in the top 10 in the NFL in sacks. But then he just fell off a cliff last year. So much so that he had to take a pay decrease to stay with the Eagles this year. He's got a lot on the line. He's got to prove he hasn't lost his juice. Because on top of the fact that he should be a key piece of this defense, he's up for a pay contract at the end of this year. He's going to want to get paid. He's got to produce to get paid. And big play Slay not making plays in camp. I've heard his name a few times. I'm not really worried about Darius Slay. Darius Slay is the number one cornerback on this team because of his leadership, because he's a captain, because he's the vet, been there, done that. But I already think that Darius Slay is not the most talented cornerback on this team. And I think by the end of the season, we'll all be saying that he's not the best cornerback on this team. Quinion Mitchell, in my mind, is still the most talented cornerback on this team and will be the most talented cornerback in everybody's eye by the end of the season. I could see a scenario where by the playoffs, you're starting Quinion Mitchell and Isaiah Rodgers on the outside, and then Cooper DeJean in the slot. That might be your starting cornerbacks come playoff time. NFL Stats is a treasure chest for big contracts. That's not how you play good defense. Yeah. You still got to make the plays. You know, talking about trading for Khalil Mack, if what I'm saying about the secondary is right, is there a scenario? And I brought this up at the very beginning of the offseason, or before the offseason officially started, that Darius Slay could be a trade candidate. Is there a scenario where 5-6 weeks in the season, Cooper DeJean's healthy, he's playing well, Isaiah Rodgers is playing well, Quinion Mitchell is playing well, Keely Ringo can't get on the field? Is there a scenario where Howie Roseman tries to flop or flip Darius Slay for a draft pick? And I don't think it's likely. I wouldn't even put it at 25% likely, less than that. But it is maybe possible. I don't know. Just something I want to throw out there. Just like I want to throw out there, PhillySportsTrips.com, the premier travel organization. If you want to travel with your favorite sports team, go to their website, PhillySportsTrips.com. Sign up. Mention EOP when signing up. Mention Trending in the AM. Unfortunately, their trip to Brazil is sold out, and it's too late to book it. But, guys, they have a lot of great tailgate and travel packages available to see your Phillies, to see the Union, and, of course, Eagles takeovers, Birds takeovers, Tampa late in September, the Meadowlands in New York in October for Saquon Barkley's return home. Of course, the bus trip down to Baltimore, short little trip down to Baltimore. Again, road trip to Baltimore does sound like a horror flick. I'm working on the treatment. And, of course, the F Dallas takeover of Dallas, November 10th. What a day that's going to be. Dallas Eagles, 4:25 p.m. The premiere of Season 5 of Yellowstone, 8 p.m. It's going to be a fantastic day. But check them out, PhillySportsTrips.com. Again, make sure you mention EOP when signing up. Dude, what is going on with the like button today? Too much Rob Thomson talk. Too much Phillies talk. I guess that's what it is. But anyway, back to the 53-man roster. Back to this. Again, we're talking Eagles, their 53-man roster, where it stands now, where it might stand in a week from today. We're talking Phillies if you want to get back to Phillies conversation, talking Rob Thomson and whether you like him or not. And, of course, best buddy cops on the big screen. My top three in order. Rush Hour, number one, without a shadow of a doubt, Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker. Lethal Weapon, Murtaugh, and Riggs, the best. And Bad Boys, Martin Lawrence, Will Smith, um, Mike Lowry. Mike Lowry. Number 3 to me. They're my top 3 buddy cop duos on the big screen. Rob Thomson or Yeet. How about neither? I'm going to use my pass again on that. That's why Hassan Reddick hasn't gotten paid yet. The Jets know he goes rogue to pad his sack numbers. Yeah, I mean, look, the Hassan Reddick situation is still so comical to me, mister. Like, publicly speaking, the Jets are saying all the right things. We had an understanding. You know, we knew what was going on, blah, blah, blah. But, man, they look just as dumb as their counterparts across the stadium in the New York Giants with how they're handling this situation. Like, how can you trade a second, potentially third-round pick without a deal in place, without an understanding? Now, the Jets are saying that Reddick knew there might not be a deal, and he agreed to play on his contract. I highly doubt that's the scenario. That's the case. The Jets really fumbled this one. Howie Roseman did not. Howie Roseman made quite the even better move than it realized it by getting rid of him now. So it's so comical to me. What about the cops in the movie Superbad? They should have had their own spinoff, shouldn't they, MK? They could have their own spinoff movie, probably, those two cops. I feel like Cooper DeJean is going to be pushed to the corner because Q filling up the slot because of Isaiah Rodgers and Slay. Ringo has done a lot too. Yeah, and then that's why I kind of feel, Travis, that the cornerback position is going to fluctuate so much throughout the year. And I hinted at it. Mister didn't say why, or Martian didn't say why he doesn't think it's possible. But in my mind, there's a scenario where there's a rotation at cornerback. I know you want your best guys on the field at all times, but Cooper and Ringo need to be on the field, as well as the other three. That's why I say maybe there's a scenario where you trade Darius Slay. I don't know what his trade market would be. Well, maybe. I don't know the answer to that. But, you know, right now, because of his injury and because of his late arrival to practice, Cooper DeJean's going to get treated like Nolan Smith last year. Barely on the field week 1. Barely on the field week 2. He's going to have to play his way onto the field by practicing well and by contributing on special teams. And then we'll see. Yeah, I do it sometimes. You know what? Sue me, Mitchie Poo. And if you need a good lawyer, I've got a good lawyer. David R. Cherry of the Cherry Law Firm. Guys, if you need a lawyer in the state of Pennsylvania, workers' compensation, motor vehicle act, personal injury or criminal law, call the best. Call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Law Firm. Give him a call, 610-565-0300. Go to cherryinjurylaw.com and let him fight for you and get you what you deserve. When you talk to him, make sure you mention EOP, mention trending in the AM. Again, David R. Cherry is the best in the state of Pennsylvania. Give him a call, 610-565-0300, or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. We definitely hit the over there today on the cherry bomb, but that's okay. The over is okay to hit from time to time, guys. What's in my notes here today? Not much. I think we're covering my notes pretty well. But guys, we're talking Eagles 53-man roster, where it sits today, because we are 9, not 7 days away from final cutdown. We're talking Rob Thomson, love him or hate him. John Middleton's public comments calling out Rob Thomson and company. We're talking buddy cop duos, all on the table. Please, you're watching Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe and follow button. Please hit that share button. I'd greatly appreciate it wherever you're watching, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Make sure you guys do that for me. So many great wide receivers in the NFL. You can be stacked in the secondary, and it still isn't good enough. There are a lot of great wide receivers. There's not a lot of great quarterbacks, so but that's another subject. And that's why I kind of feel like this rotation at cornerback, like they do on ends and tackles on the line, might be the new way to go. Get everybody the experience they need. Get everybody in there. Keep Darius Slay healthy and fresh. Don't push guys so they're burned out. keep them fresh and healthy. It might be the Eagles tend to be ahead of the curve. Maybe that's the new curve. Maybe that's the new thing. Maybe that's the new philosophy. Now, Marshawn said he doesn't think it's possible, but I need an answer on why. I mean, let me pull up the Eagles' schedule here real quick again. Haven't done this in a while. Green Bay, some decent young wide receivers. Atlanta, they got, one great wide receiver, great tight end, great running back. New Orleans, terrible. Tampa, got great wide receivers. Cleveland, Amari Cooper, that's it. So we're not really getting to the really, really heart of the great wide receivers till Cincinnati. Who knows who the Dallas wide? Honestly, this year is actually a year. There's not on our agenda, on our schedule, there's not a lot of elite. We're not facing Miami. We're not facing Houston this year. We're not facing KC this year. Not that they have great wide receivers, but they got Travis Kelce. Thinking of all the great wide receiver teams in the NFL, we're not really facing them. We don't have Devontae Adams on our agenda this year. We don't have the Lions this year. We don't have, a lot of the really, really good. So maybe not. Maybe it's not necessary this year. For all the great wide receivers that are in the NFL, this year might be the weakest. Could we get Lawyer to release Bradbury? He is wasting a spot. Look, the James Bradbury stuff, and we're going to take the split screen off here. We'll go back to the basics here. Back to the regular me. And it's Baldberry. Is James Bradbury bald? Didn't even know that. Look, when it comes to James Bradbury, said it once, say it 100 times. James Bradbury is here because it doesn't cost you anything more to have him here now. Now, should he make the roster in 9 days? Honestly, probably not at this point. Excuse me first. Man, I can't get caught up on these allergies. I wanted James Bradbury to make the team. I wanted James Bradbury to accept and grasp the safety position. He's not. I love redemption stories. I do. I love completing the story, even though it's a little overblown nowadays. Finishing the story. But James Bradbury just hasn't played to the level of some of the other guys that have. And it's a shame. Because I do want to see that redemption for Bradbury. Bradbury was such a key piece of 2022. I want that redemption. But when you've got all these other guys that are playing better than him, you just can't let him make the team. This is a tough one. I'm not going to use my pass on this one, Mitchie Poo. I am going to take James Bradbury. Kyle Lowry is so washed. I see everybody keep putting up the Sixers depth chart. Every content creator is. And I just see such a hole at point guard and power forward on the bench. I just do. I see a problem. But people love Kyle Lowry. They love them some Kyle Lowry, so we'll see. I know, Mitchie Poo. Stop with the story. The story stuff. Finishing the story is so bad. Side wrestling, though. When does the crowd start to turn on Cody Rhodes? Like they did in AEW. Maybe it's already happening. I don't know. Maybe there comes a moment where he becomes the John Cena, where they want him to be a heel. They boo him like crazy because they're bored of him, not because they like or dislike him. I'm hearing Atlanta's supposed to be good this year. That week 2 game might be a hard-fought game. We know the Falcons will be hyped. Look, Kirk Cousins is their quarterback, and week 2 is on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. It's a primetime game. We know Kirk Cousins sucks on primetime. A lot of hype around Atlanta. There is. And I just don't know. It's basically the same team just with Kirk Cousins. I don't know if I buy Kirk Cousins. Now, luckily for the Falcons, they play in a really bad division. Luckily for the Falcons, 10 wins would win that division, no problem. I just don't know if I trust Atlanta to be hyped. They're probably a playoff team. most likely a playoff team. But I don't think they're that good. I think the Eagles steamroll Atlanta. I think week 1 in Brazil against Green Bay, week 3 against the Saints are tougher matchups for the Eagles. But I just don't ever buy Kirk Cousins in the big moments. Kirk Cousins is on pace to make something like $400 million in his career. The most overpaid. I think he got paid more versus what the return was than even Sam Bradford and that last rookie contract, which ended the rookie contract thing and brought about the wage scale. Like, I don't buy the Falcons being a hype team. They might be good. They're not going to be great, though. People only like him for his song. Dude, MK, Mitchie Poo. I've said that so many times. His song is more over than he is. And it annoys me. Every wrestler that comes out, you got to sing their song. They're even singing freaking Randy Orton's song now. And it drives me nuts. It really actually does. Really don't like it. Joe Hendry is greater than Cody Rhodes. I mean, I believe. I do. That should have been my thing underneath here. Joe Hendry is great. Not. I've left the Sugar Shane Falco comment up there for a few days. Got to come up with something good. I need a good one. I was gonna say advertise here. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use my sub thing there to advertise. But anyway. Oh, hold on. Before I do that, I've been drinking, so I forgot. I got one more ad read. And when you're drinking, you want to drink at the best place, and that's Dolan's Bar in Ridley Park for 65 plus years. Quintessential Irish American dive bar in Delaware County, 24 East Sellers Avenue. Great food, great times. Go in there. Tell PG and the crew, EOP, Trending the AM sent you. DolansBar.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Guys, Dolan's Bar, the best in Ridley Park for 65 plus years. Guys, and of course, there's 7-day-a-week programming on Edge of Philly Sports later today on the Shane page. Fairway to Heaven, Birds of a Round Table, Chalk Talk, Phillies Post Game Live. I mean, what other network is pumping out this much content on a regular basis? Nobody is. So make sure you hit that subscribe button right here on Edge of Philly Sports and also on my personal page, Trending the AM, linked below in the description of this show. Joe Biden had a strong speech last night. He was barking like a drill sergeant, was he? Dude, I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. Chad, what's up, my man? Don't say what's up to Mitchie Poo. You should be saying what's up to the host first. Say what's up to me. Say my name, and I'll appear. But guys, yeah, we're in the wrap-up process of this show. Spent a lot of time talking about Rob Thomson, the Phillies. We went over my early predictions for the 53-man roster. What tomorrow will be? Probably more Phillies, more roster discussion for the Eagles, of course. Because why not? Yeah, see? No. You don't get to say it after. I don't have to, you just should know naturally to address the host before you address Mitchie Poo. That's all I'm going to say. It's a little bit of a violation right there, just so you know. No. No chit-chatting in my comments. No small talk in my comments section. Look, it's been an interesting show today. Very, very curious on how this plays out with Rob Thomson, the Phillies, over the next 2 weeks. I'm really curious to see how this roster plays out for the Eagles over the next week and change. Well, that's a load of horse donkey right there. No doubt it. I don't think so. Kyle Lowry is greater than Mitchie Poo. Tobias Harris is greater than Mitchie Poo. If you want to battle, well, let me tell you something. We'll battle. We will. And I'll take your 3'7" ass, turn it some bit sideways, and shove it right up Chad's candy. Yeah, anyway, you know what I'm getting at. Oh, we got it to 11 likes. Great. Woohoo. Yeah. That Phillies algorithm really taking a beating today, in this show. But it is what it is. I don't know about that. Because that would mean that Rob Thomson is greater than Mitchie Poo, too. Because I'm greater than Mitchie Poo. Just saying. This is going to be a new battle between Mitchie and me. That's it. The ban is back on. You're not allowed on my show. Never. Anyway. With that being said, guys, I think we're just going to wrap it up right there for the day. Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. Like, subscribe, follow, share. Find me on social media at Beard and Knowledge. Make sure you're back here tonight, 6 p.m. for Fairway to Heaven and all the other great shows on this channel tonight. Tomorrow, did the Phillies win today? That's part one of today. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about the Eagles offense and what the offense will look like, who is going to get what percentage of the touches on offense, and how do we expect the distribution really to believe or to go. I believe in Phil. I believe in you too, Mitchie Poo. Anyway, guys, with that being said, I'm Phil Stiefel. This is Trending the AM. This is Edge of Philly Sports. Have a fantastic Tuesday. I will see you guys tonight. And as we end every show, ring the bell. Go Birds. Bubbles up to you guys.